Let's move on though to the Cabal class, and I love the Cabal class. That is the Mage, Priest, and Warlock, and the Cabal is really good. The Cabal are basically pushing these Reno control decks. That's what a lot of these legendary cards are doing. A lot of these control potions are doing, and we're gonna see a lot of Reno. Get ready to get really rich or die trying, because this is gonna be insane. So, but let's start out with the Mage. This is the Cabal class, one of the Cabal classes, and Mage is definitely also one of my favorite classes. I love Reno Mage, so I'm really excited to experiment with all types of Reno Mage lists. I have like so many already up on like Hearthstone and stuff like that. I'm gonna try to really push for a Reno Mage list that works out. But it's kind of ironic to say that because Freezing Potion will definitely not be in my list. Yeah, it makes Shatter like from a rank 1 to 2 out of 5 stars, but 1 star to a 2 star, but it's not good. It doesn't really do that much. I mean, you could. The only place that I see this possible is a possible tempo play, possibly with Flame Waker, and basically say this as 0 mana, freeze an enemy, deal 2 damage. That's not terrible, but it's deal 2 damage randomly split among enemies, which is garbage. So yeah, it's just not good enough. It's not good enough in tempo. It's definitely not good enough in Reno Mage, which you need value. And this just stalling like this is not as good as Frost Nova or something like that. This is a single target freeze, and that's just absolutely not good enough in Hearthstone right now. So I'm going to give this a 1 out of 5 stars for that Freezing Potion. 1 mana, 2/1, Cabal Lackey. Battlecry, this next secret you play costs 0. Huh. Super cool, interesting card. 1 mana, 2/1 is strong. It competes with a lot of, competes with some minions that we're seeing in aggro decks come up, especially in this expansion. Pirates, I would say, for example. Because you play this on 1, they coin out a 2/3 something, Bloodsail, Cultist or something, Bloodsail Raider, and you just hit and ping, and that's your Reno Mage turn. I mean, that's what Reno Mage wants to do. We want to fill up our hand, we want to have card advantage, and then we want to kind of react to our opponent before we can start being proactive. So Cabal Lackey could be seen in that deck, but again, you need a secret to like really take advantage of this card. I don't know exactly what secrets are going to be played in Reno Mage. I mean, there's the new secret, which is Potion of Polymorph, kind of interesting. We'll see. Just depends on the meta. But I don't think we're really going to see like an Effigy or a Mirror Entity or some proactive spell. So yeah, maybe this gets out your Ice Block that you mulliganed incorrectly for. Like it's not going to do anything proactive for you. It's going to like kind of cover up a mistake for a mulligan or something like that. It's just, I don't think it's that good. Unless we see like a Mage secret list, which then it's a 2 for sure. So I'm going to say it's a 3. 3 star. It's definitely possible. It's definitely playable. But I don't think it's going to be like core. It's going to be a little bit situational, depending on what deck lists we see rise to the top. Cryomancer. Battlecry, gain +2/+2 if an enemy is frozen. The only way that I see this 5 mana 7/7 possibly being good is if you have a Water Elemental on the turn before, which Reno Mage plays Water Elemental, Tempo Mage definitely plays Water Elemental, so maybe this is a 5 card, maybe this is a 5 cost card that you put in your deck, I don't know, maybe. I mean, again, the 5 mana slot is going to be so important, and right now I don't see anything being better than Azure Drake in a Tempo Mage list, or even a Reno list, or something like that. And in a Reno list, it's just going to be too situational to actually have a freeze go off so you can play Cryomancer. So overall, I don't think it's quite good enough to put in as a 5 slot. The 5 slot is going to be so important in this expansion. So you really have to look out for your 5 drops. And I don't think this is a Mage card that makes the cut. I'm going to give it a 2 though. It's a cool effect. Like 5 mana 7/7 is strong. Don't get me wrong, it's strong. But the fact that an enemy has to be frozen, it's kind of tough to synergize with. So a 2 out of 5. This card is ridiculous. Potion of Polymorph. Secret. After your opponent plays a minion, transform it into a 1/1 sheep. I'm actually really interested in this card for one reason, how it interacts with Jiraxis. We know that Repentance gives Jiraxis 1 health, which I'm pretty sure it'll be like a 1 health card. But will it be a sheep when it turns into Jiraxis? That would be hilarious. Anyway, yeah, it's just not. It's not better than the other Mage Secrets, so I don't know why we would see this come into play. It's not quite good enough. It's a 1 out of 5 stars. I don't have much else to say about it really. It's a 1 out of 5. Yeah. This is a potion. It's a 3 mana volcanic potion, and it's a mage spell. Deal 2 damage to all minions. Good in. It's actually very, very good in Reno Mage. I will absolutely play this in Reno Mage. I think that we tried to have something like this with Twilight Caller or something like that. The 3 mana, 2/2 deal 1 damage to all enemies. And I mean, if you're playing Reno Mage, I mean, you're not going to care about all minions. Like, I don't care because I'm not going to have a board on turn 3. I'm going to maybe play Cabal Lackey or Doomsayer or a Loot Hoarder at that point. But I'm definitely not going to have a board that I'm going to be worried about getting rid of for, this 3 mana turn. So clearing like an aggressive strategy list with this card is good, and it's really good against Shaman. So if Shaman's, still in the meta, we'll definitely have to see, but definitely a core card in Reno Mage. I'm going to give it a very good, it's going to be a 4-star, 4 out of 5 stars here. Alrighty, next up on the list, we have Kabal Crystal Runner. It's a 6 mana 5/5, and it costs 2 less for each secret you've played this game. Yeah, again, a 0 mana 5/5, 1 mana 5/5, 0 mana 5, or 2 mana 5/5 is good. It's so good. We see that with Thing from Below, unfortunately. But this is definitely harder to pull off. Secrets are 3 mana. We don't have something like Mad Scientist, that puts in secrets. Which I don't know how exactly that would work in Wild, but anyway, that's besides the point. For Standard, you're going to have to play these secrets for 3 mana, and it's going to be tough to get this down to even 2 mana, playing 2 secrets. Maybe in Reno Mage, you have this. Maybe in a control style list, you could maybe put this, but it doesn't have taunt. It's not that proactive. Yeah, it cheats the mana curve, but it's probably too slow because you've already had to play 6 mana to get it to a 0-cost card. So it's still basically a 6 mana 5/5. You've just done the other 3 mana at earlier turns because it doesn't affect the board state when you're putting out secrets, unless you're playing Effigy or Mirror Entity or something like that, which you most likely won't be. So yeah, it's just not quite there. I'll give it a 3 out of 5. I can see it making a possible appearance in some like control style or tempo style secret mage list, but I don't know. It's tough to read because I just don't think it cheats enough to be good in any kind of mage list. But we'll see. I mean, I'm gonna give it a 3 just safely, but it could be a little better, but it could be definitely a lot worse. So we'll have to see. Next, we have the 3 mana 3/4 Manic Soulcaster. So already vanilla stats, like excellent. 3 mana 3/4 is what you want, especially with an effect. So what's the effect? Battle Cry, choose a friendly minion, shuffle a copy into your deck. I could shuffle Reno back into my deck. I could shuffle an 8/1 Ragnaros back into my deck. It's very good for value game. It's a very, very good value card, especially in control matchups. And, it's a 3 mana 3/4, which is not bad to play against aggressive mid-range decks on turn 3. So I only see this in pretty much one archetype, which is going to be the Reno Mage. The reason that I'm saying Reno Mage is that is definitely the archetype that we're going to be seeing a lot more of with the new Inkmaster Solia, which I'm about to go into, and this card, and just Reno Jackson being such a powerhouse surrounded by all these synergistic cards. We're going to see Manic Soulcaster in a Reno style list. I'm going to give it a 4. It's good. It's core. I will definitely play this in my 3 mana slot. for Reno because it fights for the board and has a really cool effect. And I'm pretty excited for this card. Really excited for this card. 4 stars. Such a cool idea. 7 mana mage spell, Greater Arcane Missiles. Shoot 3 missiles at random enemies that deal 3 damage each. If you watch the stream, this effect was so cool. It was just like so, oh man, it's just like majestic to see these like missiles flying at like this amazing kind of pace with this beautiful lighting. It's really gorgeous artwork. But is it good? Kind of. It can be compared to Arcane Missiles, for example. Is Arcane Missiles good? Yeah, it's very good in Tempo Mage. Do you play Arcane Missiles in a slow deck? Not really, and you would be playing this in a slow deck. But it's 7 mana. Why am I doing this weird thing where I'm shooting random enemies with 3 damage? Why aren't I just playing Flame Strike? Like, if we're making this a control style card, which it most likely will be, just play Flame Strike. Flame Strike's just better. It's not random, and it deals 4 damage to all enemies. So, not quite living up to the standards of what a control deck needs for AoE clear, but it's fun and kind of gimmicky card. We could maybe see it in a couple lists. It's definitely a 2, but it'll never make it into like competitive play. It is just worse than Flame Strike. So why would you play something that's worse than Flame Strike at the same mana cost? Like, to essentially want to do the same thing, just play Flame Strike. Yeah, so 2 out of 5. Ink Master Solia, 7 mana, 5/5. Battlecry, if your deck has no duplicates, the next spell you cast this turn costs 0. Sweet. This card's sweet. This card is sweet. So let's treat it as a... So you have this. You're playing a Shaman, the mid-range Shaman of right now, and you have a Flame Strike in your hand. Okay? You play this for 7 mana. You play a Flame Strike for 0 mana. That's amazing. And even if you don't have to do that, say they have like a Ragnaros or a Thing from Below. Let's use Ragnaros, for example. Ragnaros, you play 7 mana, 5/5. Okay. But then you play 4 mana Polymorph. And now you just killed Ragnaros, and you play a 5/5, and that's a huge tempo gain for 7 mana. So this could definitely swing a lot of games. And I'm really excited and looking forward to it. This is great design because I think that the cost is perfect, and it's not a 0 mana card. Like, it's not a Thing from Below. You know what I mean? It's not. You don't just play it out because you've like played totems. You're getting rewarded for this slower style where you've maybe saved a Flame Strike. You could have coined it, but you want to tempo it out with, Ink Master Solia, or do something else, or have some crazy turn where you Frost Nova with Ink Master Solia or something. This is just going to help you get back on board as a Reno or control style list, or, well, of a Reno list, because your deck has to have no duplicates. But it is such a reliable card to start swinging the game back in your favor. Reno does that same thing, but it just plays a minion. This plays a minion and does something else. And so it's arguably better than Reno in a lot of ways because it swings the game more in your favor. So on the board, which is more important. So really excited for this card. Really, really cool design. I'm so excited. It's freaking sweet. Yeah, this is going to be a 5. This is a 5 out of 5 because it's just that good. It is that good in my opinion. Really excited for Ink Master Solia. Next class, we have what I'm pretty much most excited for is the revamping for, best term I can find is Priest. And Priest is definitely getting buffed. We are going to see a lot of Priest. We're going to have a lot of greetings and a lot of, possible hero powers on our opponent's faces, and it's going to be great fun. And I'm really looking forward to Priest. So let's get into it. The first potion and the first 1-cost spell for Priest is going to be this: gain control of an enemy minion with 2 or less attack until the end of the turn. Potion of Madness. First I thought, like, wow, this is insane. But then I thought, how many times are you really going to take control of a minion with 2 or less attack and it actually be worth it? Not really. You're just doing it until the end of the turn. It's worse than Shadow Madness, in my opinion, because yeah, it's 3 mana less, but that 3 health, that 3 attack is pretty important. It's good against a couple classes. And I can see it definitely as like a one of, or maybe you played in like a Reno Priest style list, something like that. But I don't think it's quite up to par with the other like priest strategies. And it's gonna be a dead card against control. So maybe, maybe not. The only way I see this being good against control is like you steal an acolyte for a turn, draw a card. Like that's about the extent of what it's going to be for against control. And against aggro, yeah, definitely has some possibilities because there's some good Hunter Death Rattle minions that you could steal, but I don't think it's quite good enough. I'm going to say it's a one of possible Reno card. Maybe it comes into play depending on the meta, depending on what we see with the Grimy Goons and this kind of tempo minion lists. But it's a 3 out of 5 for right now. It's possible. It's definitely possible. I don't think it's too situational necessarily. You could definitely play it as a one of and maybe see some value during the course of the game. Most likely. But is it good enough right now? Not in my mind. But we'll just have to see. It's a 3 out of 5. This, on the other hand, the 3 mana, 3/4 Kabal Talon Priest. Battlecry give a friendly minion +3 health is what brings Control Priest back into the meta. 3 mana, 3/4 again, similar to Manic Soulcaster. It's 3 mana, 3/4 body. Like that's perfectly fine to throw out on turn 3. We had Spider Tank for the longest time be very good because it just was a 3 mana, 3/4 mech, and it just just stuck there. It was a good drop to put on turn 3. It's just solid vanilla stats. But the battle cry, give a minion +3 health, is really good. Like if you have the dream and you put let's say a Northshire Cleric, right? For 1 mana, 1/3, and then you have coin, you just coin this out, and against control warrior, you have a 1/6, like you have a 1/6 oh my gosh, I keep forgetting the name. I just said it. No, not. Oh my god, the 1 mana 1 Northshire Cleric, 1 mana 1/6 Northshire Cleric, and that's just really good. I mean, they're gonna have to spend some quality removal on that because 6 health at turn 2 is a lot of health. So I could also see this played in Dragon Priest. We saw some Dark Cultists played in Dragon Priest rather than the Blackwing Technician, for example. So you're gonna see this card in pretty much every priest deck that's played because it's just solid. It's good. You play it for vanilla stats without the battle cry. It's good. With the battle cry, it's amazing. So it's gonna be a 4. That's a core card in priest right now, and it's gonna be a 4 out of 5 stars. Kabal Song Stealer, 5 mana, 5/5 battle cry. Silence a minion. Silence a minion. One of in Reno Priest for sure. And I keep saying Reno Priest because of Raza the Chained, which we'll go over. But yeah, it just depends on how strong some of the Grimy Goons get with these minion buffing cards. Maybe silencing a Don Han Cho card is going to be worth it. Maybe that's the way the meta gets. It might be worth it to just keep a silence just in case. Just because the meta could be all over the place, and that's kind of potentially where we see it going with all these different mechanics and moving forward. There's a lot of strong synergies that I see happening. So maybe silence is really good. 5 mana 5/5 is great. It's not a risk to put in your deck. It's not like an owl for 3 mana 2/1. It's a good silence. It's a solid silence. It just depends on if silence is good, and is it a good enough 5-cost card? Is silence worth it enough to put in your 5-cost slot, which we've talked a lot about today? So you'd only see it in probably a control priest. I don't know if you'd see it in Dragon Priest since you have a Drake and you have a Blackwing Corruptor. But there's potential for it. There's definitely potential for it. I'm going to give it a 3. It's a solid card. It's definitely solid. It's definitely possible to put in your list. But I don't think it's quite there. We'll have to see. Just depends on how good silence is. Next. Okay. 1 mana pint-sized potion. Give all enemy minions -3 attack this turn only. I've tried to evaluate this card a lot. Yes, it is so abundantly clear that there are millions of two card combos with this card, and specifically, there's Kabal Shadow Priest, there's Shadow Word Horror, which is lol. We have we have just trading up as Dragon Priest. We have trading up as even Control Priest or a mid-range style priest. We have this pint size. What is it? The Potion of Madness. We have the good lord. We have so many different kind of synergies that we can use. But here's the thing: you have to have that other card to make this work, or you have to have the board control to make this work. So you're basically comparing this to Circle of Healing, right? Circle of Healing has to have the board to make it work because it's essentially trading up because you're healing your minions back up. Or you're combining it with Akanai Soul Priest, which is one of their most reliable clears, which is 2-card combo, which is why Priest isn't very good because it's a 2-cost combo. And this is a 2-cost combo also. Yes, you can steal a Sylvanas, an Emperor Thaurissan, an incredible. You could steal a White Eyes. You could steal these awesome Cairn. There's so many minions that you could steal with Kabal Shadow Priest, which Kabal Shadow Priest will definitely make it back into the meta. But it's a 2-card combo, and the card that you need to combo it with is still 1 mana. So you can't Kabal this. You can't Kabal Sylvanas on the reactive turn to Kabal her. You have to do it a turn after because Sylvanas is 6 mana. Maybe you're responding with a 7 mana combo, but maybe you're responding with a 6 mana. So it's a little slow for a 2-card combo because the 2-card combo of Akanai Soul Priest is just 4 mana because Circle of Healings is 0 mana. I'm going to give it a 3 as well. It has so much potential. It just depends on how much board flood there is in the meta, and if there's so much control and so much like Sylvanas and Azoth kind of running around that this warrants a spot with Kabal Shadow Priest and only that combo. And I'm just not quite sure. It's like a worse Shrinkmeister in that case, right? Because the Shrink, it doesn't come with a body. It's useless on turn 1 because you can't really do anything. You can't like play out a 3-2 like Shrinkmeister was able to. Yeah, it's tough to say. So I'm going to probably give it a 3 stars out of 5. It's definitely not very good. It's not core, but it's definitely a possibility to put in your deck. So we'll see some cool combos though. I'm really excited. Greater Healing Potion. Restore 12 health to a friendly character. Yeah, this card's good. This card is very good. It's core. There is going to be a lot of aggressive strategies running around. There always is at some point in the meta. And this is just reliable heal. Also, take note that it is friendly character, so no, you cannot Akanai Soul Priest and then deal 12 damage on turn 8 to your opponent. No, it is only a friendly character. So something to note. It's not as good as, I guess, Flash Heal in that respect. But 4 mana restore 12 health is good. I mean, it's solid. It's so good in Reno. It's something that helps you stall towards a late game. And a late game approach is what Priest is most likely always going towards, unless you're like a Dragon Tempo Priest. But this ability to stall and kind of negate the damage that your opponent has done, similar to Jinyu Water Speaker, it's good. It just negates that sort of damage. It's exactly like Jinyu Water Speaker because you essentially have this treating kind of 6 health as the 6 health to your hero, and then it restores 6 health, so this restores 12. So essentially, they're kind of restoring same amount of health in some way. One just fights for the board a little bit better, but 12 health is a lot, and I think it's definitely going to be a 4. It's a very good core card in Priest, so excited. Oh god, why this card? Oh my god, this single-handedly, and I mean single-handedly, brings Dragon Priest tier 1. It's tier 1 now. Draconid Operative, 5 mana, 5/6, ridiculous stats. Dragon. Battle Cry, if you're holding a dragon, which you will be, absolutely, with Netherspite Historian and these new dragon kind of cards coming out in Karazhan. Discover a card in your opponent's deck. That's insane. That's like actually insane. If it was get an opponent's, receive a card from your opponent's deck, just any random one, receive a random card. Not as good. It's still fine. It's decent, but discover a card in your opponent's deck. Oh my god, that's so good. That is so good because there are so many decks that if you were able to use half their deck against like the other half of the deck, depending on, so let's say this. So somebody's playing like Reno Warlock. You steal half the deck, and they have the other half of the deck. That's a 50-50 matchup. Yeah, it depends on draws. Let's say there's no RNG and everyone has about the same amount of minion spells and it's about the same amount of value, right? It's going to be a 50-50 matchup because decks will begin to counter each other with certain cards. If you play a control style list, you're going to be running control style cards to control the board. So when your opponent plays Grom and you've discovered a card in your opponent's deck and you discovered Execute, you just countered your opponent's Grom with their own Execute. And that is just insane. That is so strong. And if it comes with a 5-mana 5/6 body, you are absolutely putting this in every dragon deck known to mankind. This is insane. It's meta defining. It is so good. It pushes dragons and priest to a tier 1 list, which is amazing for priest. Excited for the class, but this card is going to be very tilting on the other side because it's just going to be like, oh, good. My Ragnaros was just siphon sold by a priest, and he didn't even have that card in his deck. He just played a 5-mana 5/6 tempo card and just got it. That's just ridiculous. So pretty excited for this card. Pretty scared. Pretty scared for other decks that I'll be playing against this card, but super excited in general. And Dragon Priest is going to be disgustingly good. Mana Geo, 2-mana 2/3. Whenever this minion is healed, summon a 2/2 crystal. It's just not quite there. It's not quite good enough. You're basically saying this is a 4-mana 2/3 summon a 2/2, right? Because you have to use hero power. Unless, you know, that you have Raza, which different story because I still don't think you would play this in arena list. It's just, why do you need the board control? If you're going to just stall, clear, tempo, you don't need this early board. And, yeah, Priest is looking for a 2-drop that we need, but do you need it in Dragon Priest? No, because you have Worm Rest Agent. So it doesn't warrant the spot. And I think it's a 2 out of 5 because it's just bad. It's just, it's too overcosted. 2-mana 2/3, whenever this minion is healed, it's not any of your minions. If it was any of your minions, like an Inspire, summon a 2/2, it's pretty cool. Because you can heal your face, you can heal, but you have to heal that minion. It's already a 2/3. Like, there's no way that that's going to survive by turn 3, by turn 4, where you can hero power it, or the next turn when you can hero power. It's just not strong enough. A River Croc list is not strong enough, and so it's just not good enough. It's actually a dust it because it's an epic. Just get some dust in there. Get some dust for yourself. Yeah, you will not see Mana Geo. You will not. Oh my god, Priest is so crazy. 6-mana potion, another potion. It's important to take note of that these are potions. But this is a Dragonfire potion, and it's deal 5 damage to all minions except dragons. Okay, the except dragons doesn't even matter. Okay, yeah, you'll play it in a dragon list, but you've probably already played Draconet Operative, so you're in a good spot to win the game. This is reliable clear if you fall behind as Dragon Priest, but this is just reliable clear. And that's what Priest has been looking for. Reliable AoE, not Excavated Evil, not these memes. Like, Holy Nova looks so bad compared to this, right? Like, it looks so bad compared to this. And so now you have deal 5 damage, which is a ridiculous amount because of, let's say Shaman, Thing from Below, these 5/5s, these Sylvanuses, these Thorosans, these meta-breaking cards. But then you have deal 5 damage to all minions for 1 mana less than Flame Strike. Oh my god, it's so good. It's the most reliable AoE clear in the game as of right now. Unless people start playing dragons. Okay, the main argument against this card and why some people don't think it's a 5-star card, which I think it is. I think it entirely is a 5-star card, is that Azure Drake is played on turn 5 most of the time in a lot of decks. Fair. Okay, I completely see that. But for all the other times, it's just so good. It's just so good. And if your opponent's playing a dragon style list, yeah, it's going to be tougher to use this, but you're still going to have minions to fight for the board because they're playing a dragon list too. So it's not like they're going to just be clearing your minions and then this is a dead card. Like, you're just going to have to fight for board control. And outvalue them and outplay them in some capacity on the board. But this still helps you come back in just a lot of decks, and it still helps you just destroy decks if you're playing a Tempo Dragon list and your opponent like floods the board because they have no idea what else to do because you just took board control from them because it's, you know, Dragon Priest is very good at taking board control, and then you just like blow them out of the game because none of your minions died to this. All their minions just got destroyed, and you just keep pushing. So yeah, it's a 5-star. It's a 5-star card, and there's no debate in my mind that this will be just seen in every single priest list because it's just so good. It's just so good. 5-mana 5/5. Next priest legendary, Raza the Chain Battlecry. If your deck has no duplicates, your hero powers cause 0 this game. Wow, I am thrilled for this card. When I first saw this card, I was like, oh my god, the potential. The potential is insane. Like, first of all, if your hero power gets changed for any reason, Shadow Form, Justicar, Finley, Sir Finley Mergleton, if it changes for any reason, you will still keep the 0 cost hero power. And that is just ridiculous. That is so good. And it actually is going to bring back this kind of Reno inspired priest, and I really want to try it out. It might be gimmicky at first, but there is going to be some refined Reno priest list that takes shape. And I think it is meta defining. I think it almost drops to a 4-star just because you have to play a Reno priest, which right now isn't very good, but with this card could be excellent with the new Inspire, with the Inspire cards from Grand Tournament. But it is 5 stars because it's going to bring out a deck that was just considered garbage in Reno, like Shadow Priest, for example, into possibly a tier 2 deck. And I think that is meta defining. Even if it doesn't break the meta, it doesn't define the meta necessarily in tier 1 status, it is still bringing something that the meta has never seen before. And I think that's absolutely warrants a 5-star rating. I think this is a beautiful design. I think it's very interesting. I think it makes you build your deck in very different ways now that this is a card. And I'm so excited for it. I'm so excited for Raza the Chain. It's a 5-star card in my mind. I really hope you guys have as much fun with it as I do, because I'm just so. Oh, and that is the priest cards, it looks like. So we went, what, Mage, Priest, and now we have Warlock. Warlock. Alrighty, let's start with the Warlock cards. Okay, so to start, we have the Blast Crystal Potion, and it's a 4-mana Warlock card. Destroy a minion and 1 of your mana crystals. It's okay. I could see it in like a Reno Warlock kind of style. But here's the thing. Is a minion that's played before turn 4 worth killing? I don't think so. I don't think it's worth giving. Is it worth killing and giving your opponent essentially mana crystal, like giving your opponent a wild growth? Yeah. I don't think so. Losing a mana crystal like that so early in the game when you're pushing towards stalling it is very, very tough, because there are many times in the game where you have to coin out Reno or else you're dead. Like I've played a lot of Reno luck, and it's pretty clear that if you have Reno in your opening hand, you will probably need it against an aggressive deck, because they just push. You coin out Reno, whole board is swung, but you had that mana to do so. You had the stall to do so. Yes, this card stalls, but what is it really doing? What is it really killing that warrants this mana disadvantage for a controlled deck? It just seems really difficult to come back from if you're having to use this on turn 4. I mean, I'd rather just be playing a Twilight Drake on turn 4 in my arena list, because it's just better and it fights for the board better and stalls better than this does, unless there's some just ridiculous card out on turn 3. Maybe like an Emperor Thorson, or your opponent is Druid and they got a Ragnaros out somehow. Like, yeah, it's good then, but I don't think it's worth it still. It's just not quite consistent enough, and I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5. It's just not quite there. The risk is not worth the reward. Crystal Weaver, 4-mana 5/4 Battlecry. Give your demons +1/+1. Okay, so The only way that I can see this possible is a demon mid-range style deck, which now is a possibility. I'm pretty excited about it. I've been talking a little bit with some people about maybe this like mid-range kind of warlock style, and built correctly, I think it has a chance to do okay. It's definitely not tier one, maybe even not tier two, but it's fun. And this could be okay in it. The battle cry is very strong. Like if you have demons on the field, like +1/+1 to all demons is very strong because demons are strong creatures overall. You see a lot of demons in zoo, and there's a reason for that. Like the small demons are strong. But how much value are you really going to get out of this on turn 4 unless your opponent has literally no answers to your demons in zoo? Like it's too situational for zoo, and there's better things to be doing on turn 4 than just playing a vanilla 5/4 zoo. You want to be playing a 2-cost minion, or 3 1-cost minions. You want to be tapping and playing a 2-cost minion. There's just better things to do than just dropping a 5/4. It's just kind of weird because if your opponent's been able to clear your board thus far, like this isn't going to help your case. So in that respect, it's a 2-star. Maybe in a mid-range like demon list where it just like helps your tempo and like pushes and helps you trade up. It's okay. Maybe it's a 3. Right now it's a 2-star. I just don't quite see it happening with the demon like mid-range list. I want it to very badly, and I'm still gonna make it. I'm gonna try, but in terms of what I see right now, it's just a 2 out of 5 stars. So goodbye, Crystal Weaver. Next, we have a 7-mana 6/6 Abyssal Enforcer. We have a battle cry, deal 3 damage to all other characters. Yeah, I'm going to put this in my arena list. Definitely going to try it out. Any minion that has AoE attached to it is definitely worth looking at. Like we talked about, like any spell that, any card in Hearthstone that deals damage and summons a minion is strong. It just depends on how strong it is at this current moment in the meta. Right now, this card would be very good. There's so much Zoo running around. There's so much Tempo Mage, which this is very strong against Tempo Mage. And there's, a lot of these other cards running around. But you're giving Reno Warlock another AoE clear. You've given it Demon Wrath. You've given it Hellfire. You've given it Shadow Flame. You've given it Twisting Nether. That's a lot. So unless, the 6/6 body is relevant though, but you're definitely going to have to think about if it's worth it to put in another AoE spell, or is it just better to try to snowball the late game by playing a stronger 7-drop? Not quite sure yet. I'm going to give it a 3-star. It's definitely playable. It is most certainly playable. And if you played it in arena list, you probably get rewarded. But the reward might not be as good as playing something else. So I'm going to give it a 3-star. It's playable. It's definitely possible to put in your deck, but it's not quite, core to a Reno kind of style. So we're going to have to see though. Next, we have a 3-mana Warlock spell, Blood Fury Potion. Give a minion +3 attack, and if it's a demon, also give it +3 health. Okay. Do we see Demon Fuse? No. Do we see enough strong demons early to kind of give this a small buff? Not really. Is Zoo gonna rather be playing a Darkshire Councilman? Yeah. So yeah, it just doesn't do enough. It's cool that it gives a +3 attack. It can help it trade up, but if you're helping a minion trade up at turn 3 and that's all you're doing that turn, it's bad. So yeah, the +3 health is definitely relevant. You can make a Flame Imp a 6/5. That's huge. Is it worth it? Probably not. It's a 2 out of 5 stars. It's hard to read right now. Just demons aren't strong enough as just like a core set of cards. Zoo is not just demons. It is just very strong, synergistic, trade up, get the board control kind of style minions. So yeah, it's a 2 out of 5 stars for me. We'll have to see them. 4-mana Sea Devil Stinger. It is a 4/2, and the battle cry, the next Murloc you play this turn costs health instead of mana. Okay, it's kind of like Cho'Gall, except attached to a minion. Yeah, I mean, we could maybe see like a Murloc Warlock again. It's a pretty big tempo play to be able to play a 4/2 and then play, get rid of 3 health, or or use 3 health to summon a Murloc War Leader and buff this guy up. I mean, that's pretty insane. That's a good tempo play. And 4-2 is not terrible. It's not great by any means, but it's not terrible with this effect. So I'm going to give it a 3. If Murloc Warlock starts being a thing, maybe it pushes to a core part of the set. But I think right now it's a 3. It's playable. It's possible. Does it push into archetype? Not in my mind. I think there's stronger things that you can be doing with Warlock, but are there going to be some fun plays on this card? Absolutely. Next, we have the 6-mana Warlock card, Fellfire Potion. Deal 5 damage to all characters. I think this will push... it kind of pushes the Abyssal Enforcer out, because if you want to play another AoE spell, you're going to be playing this, not the Abyssal Enforcer. 6 mana to deal 5 damage is a lot stronger than 7 mana to deal 3 damage, right? Even though you get the body. The body's, yeah, it's important, but again, Reno is about stalling towards your late game win condition, towards your late game cards, and this helps you do it better than Abyssal Enforcer does. So, yeah, you deal 5 damage to all characters. That's completely fine. But you don't get a board in any kind of capacity, but you have effectively stalled the game very well, and that's what Reno looks to do. I mean, the 5 damage to all characters, 5 damage to your face, could it be relevant? Yeah, in some situations definitely, but in a lot of situations, getting that 5 damage in is definitely worth it. So it's very similar to Dragonfire Potion. It's just worse because of that 5 base damage, which is relevant, but it's also worse just because we already have so many AoEs in Warlock. So do we need one more? Maybe. It's a 3. It's playable. It's definitely possible to fit in your Reno list, but it's not going to be a core card. Okay, this maybe will be, actually. It's a 3-mana 5/5 unlicensed Apothecary. Whenever you summon a minion, deal 5 damage to your hero. Yeah, in a deck that runs like a lot of healing, like Reno Warlock does, this is pretty good, because getting a 3-mana 5/5 out is insane stats. Like, stat-wise, this is going to trade with pretty much everything that your opponent throws at you early game, and that essentially solves the game. If you play this out, though, and you have a Twilight Drake follow-up on the next turn, you deal 5 damage to play a Twilight Drake. So it's basically saying play a Twilight Drake and deal, 5 damage, or play a Refreshment Bender and only heal for 1, and deal get dealt 1 damage. So I think it's worth that. I really do, and I think 3-mana 5/5 in Reno Luck is so good. It's so good. I don't think it's worth it in Zoo. I think there's better cards that are less risky to play in Zoo that synergize with your deck better. Even though this is a 3-mana 5/5 demon, I think this is better in a control style list, because you're fighting for board early, you're using your health as a resource, which Warlock does in control style matchups, and you're getting board control, and then you're kind of going to snowball the game from there, because you can stall enough on the board, you can stall enough with your AoE, you can stall enough with your heal, and then eventually you get up to this Reno Jackson where you eventually heal all back up. So it's good. I think it's a really good card. I think it's a 4-star card. It's very good. It's going to be core. This as well, I think, is going to be playable, on the verge of being very good. It just depends on what kind of meta we see. If we see a meta that we need a lot of a lot of minions, strong statted minions to fight for board, maybe that's more important than running a Siphon Soul or another 6-mana card in Reno, or getting rid of maybe another high drop to start getting these mid-range minions out. Maybe that's good, and the effect of this is very good. It's a 6-mana 6/6, which is awesome, and at the end of your turn, add a random demon to your hand. That's insane, actually, because you're going to get the card no matter what, because it's at the end of your turn. And you're also going to maybe have it proc again. And 6 health is pretty sturdy. I mean, yeah, it dies to Fireball. Yeah, it dies to a couple, kind of single target removal spells, but it's pretty sturdy against a lot of decks. It could go off twice, and more times than not, I think it is going to go off twice. Our random demons pretty good. They're okay. It just, is it going to be good in a Reno list? It might just be worth it for the stats and the possible, Jiraxis that you get, or the possible Voidwalker to save yourself from, a weapon attack from Pirate Warrior. There's a lot of definitely situations that this could be very good, and that's why I think it's a possibility to put in your deck. It's on the verge of being very good. We're just gonna have to see where Reno takes off. There's a lot of different directions Reno Warlock is gonna take, and Control Warlock, and if that were to follow suit, then yes, this would actually be very good and core to that, to the direction that Reno wishes to go. Next card, we have a 9 mana 7/9, and it's called Cruel the Unshackled. Battle cry: if your deck has no duplicates, summon all demons in your hand. Okay, so it's a Reno style card, 9 mana 7/9. Meh. I mean, how many demons are you really playing in Reno Lock? Not that many, right? Like, you're playing, yeah, you're just not playing that many. It's just a 1-star just because you play maybe Voidwalker, maybe you play Imp Gang Boss, maybe you play a Jiraxis, sure, but you're probably going to want Jiraxis to get that battle cry, and the battle cry is not going to go off. So maybe it's seen in a mid-range style deck. Doubtful. It's just too slow. It's way too slow, and it's not good enough to be in a slow control list. So I'm going to give it a 1-star. It's never going to see play, in my opinion. Alrighty, so we are going to wrap up those first two kind of factions of the Mean Streets of Gadgetzan. And when we return, we are going to do the other 3 classes and then the neutral cards. So